One, two, three. Harold and Brad, Windy City filmmakers. Harold and Brad, Windy City filmmakers. Harold and Brad. Da, 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 da.
Three, two, one. What's going on, y'all? Brad Stevens here for another edition of the Harold and Brad Windy City Filmmakers Podcast. HD, what's going on, brother?
What's up, B?
We have a very special guest, the super talented director, actor, writer, teacher, Monty Cole is with us. What's going on, man?
Hey, y'all. So glad to be here. This is great.
Hey, thanks for doing the show. We appreciate it.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I'm excited to talk to y'all.
So the first question we always ask people is a two-parter, and it's, what's your connection to Chicago, and what kind of art do you create?
Yeah, I mean, so I grew up in Oak Park, which is right outside Chicago, the first suburbs west of Chicago. And my mom's from Chatham, and she grew up out there. And my dad's from Queens, so
okay.
They met here in Chicago. My dad went to, he went to grad school, law school out here. No, he did go to law school. He went to Northwestern, yeah. So that's how we're brought out here. And they were going to raise us in Hyde Park, and then they were like, "Oh shoot, we should probably go out to the suburbs." And so that's how they landed out there. And as a kid, I would just always go into the city, like eventually on my own, to just like, because I was just obsessed with just like seeing all the theater and seeing everything I could. And so that's kind of how I become a theater artist. I really started not just by doing the workout in the burbs as a kid, but also because my mom and dad were like Goodman subscribers and like would take me into the city and go see stuff. And eventually that has also sort of curved into me becoming a writer-director for not only just theater, but for film too. So that's what I kind of self-identify as now, a writer-director in film and theater.
Where'd you go to high school?
Oh, don't know. Oh, no.
Yeah, I went to Hearst, and that's right there.
Okay, yeah. That's where my mom went. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, thank God you knew. Oh, thank God.
I went to Hearst, yeah.
Because I swear she'll like go anywhere and someone will be like, Stephanie? And I'll be like, just because everybody know each other from around there. I mean, also, my grandfather was Henry Springs, and he was like one of the first black superintendents on the South Side.
Nice.
And he, I guess, was like vicious, just like rules like that. And so people would be like, "Oh, you're Henry Springs' daughter. Oh, okay. I'm gonna keep my distance."
Right.
Yeah. So, and another question. So I was taking acting classes out there in Oak Park for 15 years. At first it was off of Ridgeland and South Street over by the train. Ridgeland.
Oh yeah, it's Open Door Theater, Open Door Rep. Mm-hmm.
And then he moved the school over to Oak Park Avenue by the Green Line, under that Breyer's ice cream or that ice cream shop.
Oh yeah. What would that be? I don't know what that would be.
You know, south Oak Park Avenue by the Green Line, going, I don't want to say west, but going toward the library, going towards the library.
I know exactly what you're talking about, but I don't know what institution, what like acting institutions over there.
Well, what happened was he just took a space and made an acting school out of it in the basement under that ice cream shop. Toronto Studios, yeah.
That's
I was going down there until the pandemic hit and he closed the doors. So we've been studying online for the last year and a half. But yeah, every Wednesday afternoon right there in Oak Park.
It's great. I mean, that's a big reason why I think we were out there is because it's just not, that was the 80s. So it was Oak Park was selling itself as a place of diversity and a place for the arts. And so we grew up with a lot of arts around us, like constantly.
Nice. So like you just finished completing doing your film Whole, right?
Yeah, Whole. I mean, it was crazy. I did 3 short films this summer. I did a film called Whole that I wrote and directed, a film called 6 Feet Apart that I directed and my friend Isaac Gomez wrote, and then a film called Sons of Toledo, which I co-wrote with Matt Foss and directed out in Toledo. And now they're all in post-production at the same time, which is it's not fun, but it is fun because it's like, holy crap, we did this over the summer and here they are.
I love it.
Yeah, coming to fruition. Yeah.
You a beast, man. What are the films about? Well, like, what is Whole about?
Whole, ironically, is about growing up in Oak Park. It's about, it's based off a true story of this one time when I was kind of accidentally kidnapped in a way. My friend Booker, and he was like one of my only like real like Black friends out in Oak Park. And I was hanging out with him and his cousins, and I just did not like fit in because like I was surrounded by white kids, so like I just didn't know what was up. And I was hanging out with them, and the auntie came by, and they were like, "Oh, I've been looking for all of y'all. Get in the car. All of y'all get in the car right now. All of y'all right now." And we all just like got cattle prodded into the van and got taken into the city. And I was like, "I'm not supposed to be here. I don't think you're." And she's like, "Shut up, boy. I don't know who you are. Like, get in the car." And so we were taken into the city, and I was kind of taken to a part of the city I was not supposed to go to as a kid. And, and at first I was like really scared and stuff. But as I was there, I kind of learned like, I don't know, that Blackness takes on many forms, and that when I was a kid, I might have felt like I was broken, like I was missing pieces of my Blackness. But that I wish I had someone that was there that was telling me that like, hey, you are whole. You are a whole Black boy. You're not missing anything. So that's what that one's about.
Man, I love that. Real quick, I love that, man, because like I heard you talk about this on the pitch thing with oh man, we just interviewed her over the summer.
Erica Duffy.
Erica Duffy, right?
Yeah,
right. And I can relate to a degree because to me it's kind of like in the mass media, maybe even within Black America itself, there's this idea that that being Black is one thing. But even though we share a common history, there's a lot of diversity. Being Black is not a monolith. So like growing up on the South Side, I grew up with both parents in the household. They both had master's degrees. My mother has a doctorate. And not saying that makes you better than anybody, but it's kind of like if you grow up loving classical music like I did, or show tunes, it's the idea, well, you're Black, but you're not really Black. Black, somebody's gang banging, and and that's why I can't wait to see your film, because there's a lot of great stories out there of diversity that needs to be told, and it's all about being Black, that being Black is not just this one thing.
Mm-hmm. And it has a lot more to do with just like what you're surrounded by than anything. Like there's a part in the movie near the climax where like he goes out into the backyard with where like there's a big like barbecue that's happening, and basically we had Breon Arzell, as you know, created a line dance, like made up a line dance, a fictional line dance. Right. And the main character, who's like 10 years old, is like going along with it. He's like, oh, I think I know this. I think I know this. But it being Breon Arzell, the choreography just gets crazier and crazier and crazier. And the little Black kid is like, I don't think I know this anymore. And is like freaking out as like his sister, who's like based off my sister, is like killing it and doing great. And he's just like, okay, I guess I should go because I don't belong here. It's that feeling of like, you should know the moves, but you don't.
What are the other 2 films about?
So 6 Feet Apart, which is the one that's kind of connected to Whole, is based off of the fact that my friend Isaac, who's like basically my brother, like he and I were at Fitcher Gardens together in the artistic department together, and really just like so much of our kind of formative 20s were spent together. And about 3 or 4 years ago, my dad died, and he saw me have to speak at my dad's funeral, and he was sitting up in the balcony of the church, and I'm just like bawling in the front.
Right. Yeah.
And Isaac was just kind of sitting there imagining, like, what would it be like for him to have to bury his dad, someone who he has a complicated relationship with, because as the years have gone on, his dad's become more and more religious, and Isaac is queer. And so the film is kind of like a hypothetical of him imagining him going to his father's funeral, and like these memories that keep on flashing of him and his father as they've come of age over the years. It's kind of incredible because it's like a 12-minute coming of age film, which is kind of hard to do that much. It's like it spans so much time in 12 minutes, but it really is like telling the story of Isaac and his dad's relationship in 12 minutes, and it's pretty beautiful.
Nice.
And it's actually not true. Like his dad's still alive and was very nice to us when we were, when he hosted us in El Paso, Texas, where we filmed it. But you could also tell that there was some tension there, and that there was something really deep going on there. So, and then some to Toledo. My friend Matt Foss is living out in Toledo, and he was producing this event for the barbers there, and the Black barber community in Toledo. And it was called the Art of the Cut, Art of the Shave, something like that. And they put him on stage at the art museum in town, and they were just like, it's so amazing to be treated like we're artists, because we are artists. Like Black barbers are artists. What they do, what they're able to do with hair is incredible. And so they're telling stories and they're cutting hair on stage, and it was just this beautiful event. And just talking about like what the Black community has been hit with in Toledo, which, by the way, huge Black community in Toledo. Did not know, huge. Yeah. And so they told about the story about how they sometimes have to cut hair at the morgue, and that they have to cut hair for family members and people that they are so close with, brothers and friends, at the morgue, and what that emotional and that sense of responsibility and care that goes into that action. And so the film follows this young man who everyone in the film is truly who they are. There's no actors, quote unquote, in the film. It's all people who are playing themselves, and it's about this young man who finds out early in the day that his brother has been shot, and he has to go to the barbershop, and he has to go about his day. And by the end of the day, he has to shave his brother's hair at the morgue. But what's kind of amazing about it is that the guts of the film is actually a documentary. Like there's like these pillars of a narrative that are happening throughout, where we kind of get this catharsis through the narrative. Right. But the guts of the film is actually us. We were interviewing the community inside the barbershop and letting the barbershop be the barbershop, where this hub of communication and talking and gossip and everything like that, and this town hall. And we just let the cameras roll and let them talk. And that's kind of the guts of the film, surrounded by this narrative. Captured
that. So I have a question rounding off all three films. What is your style? What are you going for with your films? What's your mission?
I have noticed, because these are my first, and they're all so damn ambitious. Like, I don't think I realized how ambitious they were until we're now in post, and I'm like, oh man, I could have pulled back. This didn't have to be this hard. But through all of that, I think it's all three of them have come back to like this sense of how strange it is to be either Black or a person of color and male in this country and be vulnerable at the same time. Right. That like, and what does it mean to be vulnerable and inside masculinity, and is it allowed to be public, and is it allowed to be, and how do you wrestle with that, and how do you find yourself inside of that wrestle that we tend to have, that there's these like kind of unfair expectations of what masculinity is supposed to look like inside of vulnerability.
You're going that route, and I'm sure people can make films with that essence, but not necessarily going there, you know.
Right.
Finding yourself as that person.
Yeah, and it goes about in different ways, right? Because like in Whole, it's like you're watching this kid, this melancholic kid who's just like beaten up by it, and you can see him just like wrestling with his identity that way. And then in 6 Feet Apart, there's this big moment that I was on set crying because it was a funeral, and we're like literally shooting a funeral. And like it was like we happened to be shooting it on Father's Day. Like, who planned that shit?
That's rough, man. That's rough.
What the hell?
That's rough.
I'm like in the most gorgeous church in El Paso on Father's Day, watching literally like this like kind of famous actor, Luis Bortonato, step into a casket and do this scene, and I'm just like action. But that scene comes from this place of like, is this a sort of release now that he gets that his father is dead, or are the things that he didn't get to say, and that he's like so buttoned up for the rest of the film. And then with Sunset Toledo, it's like the first scene, like Marcus, who's not an actor, Marcus was just crying on set, and we cut, and the first thing he said is like, if my dad could see me doing this right now, he'd be so proud. Right. And so like the masculinity and vulnerability thing is a weird thing in America that we don't know is, I think right now we're actually finally confronting in a way that we haven't done before.
Ooh la la. Yeah.